it's the right time. Yes.
Richard, can you speak to Ringstar coming out the blocks exceptionally fast? For arguably the #1 show coming up in LA December 10th and signing arguably the #1 prospect.
Well, I think what it does, it shows you that my commitment to Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles is the best, biggest fight town in the world. We have a huge fan base, and so I'm very much focusing on Los Angeles, on California, and I want to do big fights. I want to bring big fights to California and to Los Angeles. Because the fight fans are here and they support it, and that's why this is such an important signing as well.
Richard, how many fights do you think you would require to get to like world title top? And who's gonna kind of preside over the matchmaking of his career? Will it be with someone like Tom Brown?
Yes, I'll be talking to working with Tom, and I think as it relates to the number of fights, you have to understand Carlos was already fighting in the World Series of Boxing, and so it's not like in the past where an amateur was fighting with headgear and then he makes the jump. Many of those pros, especially at Carlos's level, they are really far advanced. So we just have to see. But as I said, there is not really a rush. We don't need to. We don't need to like fight for a title within 3 fights or 5 fights or so. Why put that unnecessary pressure on you? We want to put together the right fights, big fights, exciting fights. Whether if it's for a title or not for a title, it really doesn't matter. We want to as a team build Carlos as the attraction here, and the king of LA, as I said, King Carlos. Yes.
Can you tell us how they got into boxing?
Well, I got into boxing because I was fighting a lot in the streets, fighting a lot in school, and I was getting suspended a lot. And it got to the point where I was like getting hit every day, repeatedly, because my grandparents would get calls from the phone and saying that, I was getting suspended, just getting in trouble. And it got to the point where they started hitting me before school because they knew I was gonna end up fighting later on that day. So it got pretty bad, and one day my uncle pastor actually took me to the boxing gym for the first time. I had never boxed before. I fought people, but I've never boxed before. And they told me, they went up to the manager of the gym, and they're like, oh, would you like to sign up my nephew? Where do we sign up or whatever? And he was like, how old is he? He said he's 7 or 8 at the time, I think. And then he was like, no, he's too young. He needs to come back when he's 11 or so. And at the same time he said that, there was like another younger kid walking by and with gloves and everything. And my uncle was like, well, why is he allowed in the gym? And he looks like the same age. And he said, that's my grandson. He's been boxing for so and so long, and he has so much experience. And then my dad told him, well, let's put him up to spar. If my son beats up your grandson, we can stay, or if it's the other way around, then we leave. And they said, all right, let's do it. So I'm just like 2 days before, I was getting hit for fighting, and now 2 days later, they're like, come on, you better hit him, So I was excited. I got in there. I think they stopped it like in 2 rounds because he was bleeding and crying, and we went going from there.
Carlos, will you be demanding PED testing to make sure that Richard tests your opponents for PEDs?
Yeah, I think Mr. Schaffer and I had spoke about it. I think we would be using the
USADA testing?
USADA, yes.
I think we'll be using the USADA, just,
Okay.
What the spiders are taking, and just to be safe, better be safe than sorry.
All right.
Carlos,
By the way, just before I forget, I want to mention as well the deep roots they have in Mexico. The family still has a place in Mexico City as well, and so the plan for me is as well to have him fight, once in a while in Mexico as well, and I'm going to have conversations with Televisa, which is the largest TV network in Mexico, to have both brothers featured prominently in Mexico as well. Sorry. Yeah.
Great.
Carlos, you've had the chance to fight a lot of elite talent from all over the world in the last couple of years with WSB leading up to the Olympics. What have you learned in the last couple of years about where your skills are and what do you need to improve on?
I think as far as a lot of the experience that I've had, I just think I need to improve in, because the amateur system was a lot different than the pro system, so I need to change up a lot of stuff. But I think we were doing pretty good as far as in the Olympics. They threw me in the hardest division. They threw me in with the #1 fighter from Kazakhstan, and then the Japanese guy, and then the #1 ranked fighter in the world. So, and I was just coming and coming. But I think I just need to improve a little bit. Maybe I don't know. We could all improve somewhere, you know. I mean, you just gotta talk with me and my team, and as well they gotta improve as I do with my brothers. So yeah.
Yeah, he was in the WSB and fought, I think, 5 fights, right? 7 fights and won all of them. One of them was stopped because of headbutts, but if you look at his opponents, they were the top of the top.
What is his amateur record? What's
I
it?
have around 200 fights. I got about 10 losses, 11 losses or so. So yeah.
Richard, you mentioned that you wanted them to be featured on Televisa, so will you be cultivating their early fights exclusively in Mexico before prominently displaying them in LA, or is it going to be a mix-up?
No, I mean, I think the #1 priority is Los Angeles, but I just wanted to make the point that the Mexican market is very important for any fighter, and if we have an opportunity to work with the leading network in Mexico, Televisa, then of course that's a situation which we will take advantage of as a team and build up the fan base in Mexico as well.
Carlos, what's it mean to you to fight for your hometown? And I know Richard said that he was going to bring a showcase back there. What's that mean to you to come back to the hometown with Richard, or with the backing of Richard?
And it means a lot to me because that right there just tells you how how considerate he is of my people. You know, because he didn't have to do that, but it means a lot to me, especially because I think the last time I ever fought in my hometown was I think when I was 8 years old. It was a little show. And they've always been wanting to see me fight. And I have a big support system back home, me and my brothers. So I know it's gonna turn out to a big event because I have a lot of family, friends, and not just Santa Maria, but in other cities around. So I know it's gonna be something big when it happens to turn out. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
I got a question for both of you. You guys seem to be about the same weight. Do you guys work together as far as sparring and things like that?
Yeah, we do.
And I know brothers obviously always have rivalries and stuff like that. I know I got with my brother. Who's the better dressed between you two?
I mean, you can say
Who's better at Madden?
I don't really play football.
Who has the better haircut? That's not even an ask.
You probably did both of them.
Does Ringstar plan to open up a gym out here in Los Angeles
Eventually, yes, that's something I've
and have them actually be the?
Well, no, I think they feel very comfortable training where they are right now in Santa Maria. They have a great facility there, which is operated by David and by Senon. They have other fighters there as well, potentially some other Olympians as well, and other pro fighters which like the facility. For those of you who haven't been in Santa Maria, it's really a beautiful little area. It's about a 3.5 hours drive took me to drive up there, and the gym is really great location, has everything, and you know, for me it's important that the fighters feel comfortable, so I was never the kind of promoter who sort of like tries to steer a fighter towards a certain trainer. That's not really my job. I feel the fighter has to click with the trainer, and they need to feel comfortable, and he feels obviously very comfortable with the family, which is exactly one of the reasons, as I said in the beginning, why I was so excited about Carlos and Jose, not just because of their skills, but because of the family and the family bond. So, you know, so that's not, he trains where he feels most comfortable, and that's with his family.
Sure.
Any more questions? Otherwise, thank you so much. We're going to have some great food, as you guys know here. It's pretty good food, and you guys have as well access to both fighters and to myself over lunch or now if you want to do some one-on-ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll give them a picture first.
Okay.
Okay.